And good afternoon. This is the Elliott Wave daily update for the S&P 500 being recorded on Tuesday, August the 12th at 1:35 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Well, the markets definitely cleared up that picture. I kind of left it with the morning update and also last night on the daily update that put the best labeling that I could on it, projecting that the market still had upside to go, but I felt that it was kind of not really perfect, not really what made more sense to me. And the market did clear that up today with the PPI, excuse me, with the CPI this morning producing an initial lift. And then I thought, okay, they're going to bring it all the way back, which they did. Then they sold it back down, but then it recovered, and that made the count much clearer. So let's kind of just dive in. And so, still within and according to my count, the minuet B wave going up. We're now on the S&P just surpassing the existing all-time high at 64.68. We got above it and got up to uh, 64.70. So we did move to a new all-time high today, as did the SPX. So that's all favorable towards continued upside and moving into, which I believe still would be an irregular B wave, and it'll fall under the minuet B. So this guy, and that's why those are also that kind of lavender color. First of all, that's the 100%. And here we have the 1.236. Above that, we have 1.382. The fibs for the C wave continue to kind of rally around the 6,500 area. In fact, just above 6,500, I have it going from about 6,520 to 6,530, I'm going to call it. I'll give it a good 10 points once it gets there because I know there's going to be a lot sitting at 65. In fact, as we saw this morning, that one of the gamma levels, the call wall, got bumped up 100 points to 6,500. And I don't know if it's still sitting there, to be honest with you. Some, pretty heavy trading in terms of putting risk on trades. Uh, so we continue to see volatility via the VIX just take a nosedive. Um, in fact, the VIX cash is trading at 1473, so it's under 15 again, where the VIX future is just under 16. So, but both down over a dollar. So it just it's tuning in again or tuning itself up again for I think a major turn. And that turn, of course, would be to bring it back down. And I think that we're getting very close again, but I want to just emphasize what I've come up with right now. So here we had the sub minuet wave A, sub minuet wave B of that minuet B wave. And then within it, we're in that C wave, and the C wave will always be five waves. And if you said, remember yesterday, the conversation was, gee, that doesn't, because they would have come in at this level on Elliott versus one level down. And I thought, wow, but it kind of tells us that we get up to here and it's all done. And it could have been a flat. In fact, I need to take this guy out because it has exceeded it by enough. So we're going to move that out of the way. Don't need it anymore because 0.618, which is what we're using this morning, if this was 1, 2, 3, we had a 4, we come up on a 5 and hit that, which we did. And I thought, oh, well, it could be, but then it continued to push. So that cleaned it up even more. So what we have is wave one of C, wave two of C. This is wave three of C. It's not over yet. And it kind of projects a little bit more to 64.82. I'll take a little bit over that level so that wave three is always going to be the longest wave, or will never be the shortest wave. Let me put it that way. Because if I get a little bit more than 100%, that leaves wave one. Should wave five extend higher, it would leave wave one as the shortest wave. So I like to kind of build that in and take pressure off the count and take pressure off the market. Yeah, like I would have that. Um, but I think that that line, 100%, we should kind of get up to, and we may do it, to be honest with you, right at the start of the Globex. We might just kind of pop real quick and get up there and then sit, maybe do a small four. So I am actually looking, and I'm thinking that this could happen before the PPI. Now, not to mention, not to talk about but this last month, CPI had a lukewarm response to the numbers, and the inflation actually showed up heavier in the PPI. And now, because more tariffs have been put into place, and now that they've been in place for like over a month, uh, maybe we'll see that again. And if so, then we would likely see that uptick in inflation, or that inflation actually taking a hold, getting a foothold on stuff, uh, enough to turn the market and turn it back down. And that's the case. I'm only looking for a C wave. And so up a couple of other things, and one was brought to my attention by one of the members, and that is that, and this is somebody that I have also followed for a long time, and they do cycle work, and their work is kind of suggesting that, and actually it's Slim, and the name he got Slim, his name, because that his acronym on the trading floor, he was a market maker on the CBOE, was SLM, so they used to call him Slim. And so he is doing this, continues to do cycle work, and is kind of projecting that a cycle low would come in between the 15th and then again towards the end of the month. Now, I think that, fits very cleanly, that we could do a very quick C wave down. As much as we're doing now, finishing this to the upside pretty quickly, like today, very, very strong days. We had the S&P up 67. We had the Nasdaq up almost 300. We had the Dow up 483. And so, solid gains in our markets, and of course the Mag 7 flipping and flying all over the place. So what do I believe? I believe now we've got, and I know I've got these all the different colors on because I'm just trying to show as I go down in a degree, showing the difference. So this counts out as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 now, putting a wave one. Then we had a nice ABC down, putting in a wave two. And then again, starting over, got 1, 2. I put that 3 up there. Could be a little bit higher, but I'm going to kind of leave it there, thinking we might get a pullback. And I'm not looking for much, folks. Maybe a pullback to 50, maybe a pullback down to the like 40, 64.40. So maybe, 15 to 20 point wave four. And then we come back up again, finish the fifth, finish that third, come back down again in a four, and then run up again in that fifth to finish up the C wave. So I think 6,500, as I have been discussing, is totally within the realm of reality. And that upper side of 6,500, or the mid 6,500, I think it's not out of the picture. It's not out of the picture at all. In fact, I can add one more to this level. And nope, it's going to be the other one. So let's try that one again. And it's this guy. No, dang it. It's this guy. There we go. So I am putting 1.618 is in there. Wow. I didn't think it was up there. That's way up there. Okay, so we have the 100% here, and then 1.618 is way up here at 66. Is that out of the picture? I would like to say yes, but I can't. If things really start to cook, not that I'm looking for 1.618 because that takes it beyond here, but it's not impossible. And if it should happen, the alternate that I'm now forming is that we have the ABC down, and where I'm marking it as minuet wave A, it very well could be minute wave 4. That's an alternate. And then what's kind of brewing here is a diagonal. Now, what works against it, it's not really putting in that diagonal. We need to start to kind of come up and form it. But at this stage, it kind of looks like it might come in, but and where I don't think it's going to reach that level, but maybe out further, it could pop above if it was diagonal. That's an alternate, and it's forming, so it's not even got any weight yet, but it is an alternate that I'm thinking. Because if we continue to power up, then we could be in that finishing move. And then what we're being set up for is the completion point for all of those larger degrees up, such as minute wave 5, minor wave 5, intermediate wave 5, primary wave 5, cycle wave 3. So again, that's still out there, folks. So that major high is still out there. But that's the one that I'm kind of looking that we still should get a more decent C wave down in this minute wave 4. And then once minute wave 4 is, then we start to do that vertical lift that a lot of the algorithms that I'm using are suggesting that that's still part of the plan. All right, so what can we think about for tomorrow? I think that we're going to continue for tomorrow. Might slow down a little bit, maybe not. Um, it's going to feel like it's slow because I think that the risk on trade will continue tomorrow. And with that in mind, what happens, of course, the VIX is being sold, and then that cash is being turned over into the underlying stocks within the S&P. So, and right now, those are pretty much the Mag 7. Although today, well, they were still Mag 7s, but we had Microsoft. We had Meta up, up pretty large, up 24. Meta getting ready to kind of go test the $800 level. And so all of these stocks making multiple new all-time highs, and many of them post splits. Well, we can't forget that Apple split, Amazon split, Broadcom split, Google split, Tesla split, Microsoft split, Meta split. So, and I believe even NVIDIA split. So they're working their way back up again, which is why, NVIDIA gets to be $4 trillion company, etc. Okay, so back to the point or the case in point. I still believe we have a little bit more upside. We do it a little forward, then we come back up and we put in that's 3, the 4, and the 5, and then I put a C wave on top of it, and I put the minuet wave B on top of that. Excuse me. Then we get a little bit larger C wave down to finish this minute fourth wave. So these lower levels, this one less so. I have to be honest with you, less so. If it gets all the way up into here, like 6,500 or just above 6,500, I think that really what we come back to is maybe 61, but more like 62, 6208 to be exact. And so we're once again dealing with this fourth at 6250. I think 6241, yeah. So, and that just takes us right back down to this, makes it more of a flat. So a B, and then a flat. But I'm thinking we could get below it simply because it's 1.618. So wherever we come back, I run this, run up, and I'd be looking for 1.618 on that level to where the C wave has potential to come back. Now, with regard to, let's just take a peek at what kind of went on today with our spot gamma levels. And when we're in the spiders, spiders did get above, did they? They did. Spiders got above their call wall and large gamma 3 and closed above it. So that gave a little bit of a boost to the S&P towards the end of the day. Um, so we're going to be looking to see where that's going to shift to. Either 645 or 650. 650 could come into play as being the call wall. Um, and I would imagine the volatility trigger, things are going to get adjusted again as we continue to move higher, but we'll see come tomorrow. Now, the SPX still has its call wall at 6,500. 6,500 SPX, 6,523 in the ES, and it'll probably be 6,522, like right where that resistance is tomorrow. So, interesting day. We shall see how this all plays out. Moving averages, everything is looking good in terms of the market. Continue, we can go out here to the daily. It's quite congested up here. But there's the 8, there's the 30, there's the 78, and there's the 200. I continue to talk. I'm going to switch these back over to 50. And then but I'm going to do it when I'm done with this update. But right now it's the 30, it's the 78, and that's the 200. And they're all now, again, lifting off to kind of move up and finish. And that's it. Now, tomorrow, nothing. We have no economic data due out tomorrow, except a couple, well, 3 Fed officials, Fed presidents, Tom Barkin, Austin Goolsbee, and Ralph Bostic will all be out speaking and one giving a speech. So interesting to hear what they have to say, because everybody's looking for that inside call to, are we going to get a rate cut in September? All right. Our next update will be tomorrow morning.